video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, there Larson here, welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode, and today I want to talk about distorted noises through this little groove I made. To be fair, this Soltan track was my reference. The idea came when I saw Soltan breaking down one of his tracks where he used lots of distorted noises, but he never really explained how he did that. So I decided to make a video about how I make them. And if you want to download this whole project, check my Patreon. And if you want to dig deeper into production, for example neuro or hard dubstep, click here from Academy for lots of very cool start to finish courses. But right now, let's jump into it. Okay, so once again, let me show you this bass sound without the distorted noise thing. But with the noise, and especially with the sub and everything. So as you can see, that is very important to add some little textures that you can create with distorted noise thing. So let's dig into the sub itself, because it is basically the same technique. So what I did here is I took only a sine wave with a noise and distorted them together. This is all basically, but this amp tool creates a very nice tone to it. Okay, so the first thing that you can do to create distorted noise is obviously take a waveform. Now in most of the cases it is a sine wave with a noise, and you distort them together, and maybe you compress and do several adjustments, for example EQing, and you are done. But we have several other things that we can do here, so let me show it to you. What are your chances and what are your options? So for example, let's take a random foley sound. This is interesting, and let's load up, and I wanted to have something that has lots of peaks. Okay, this can be cool, and for example drop it onto the level of the noise. Now what it does is basically something like amplitude modulation, but this is way more than that, because we can create very cool stuff with that. So I don't want to use the BPM synchronization, and pull back oscillator 8, we won't need that. So this is so cool, because the speed of the LFO is a lot more flexible than, for example, if you used amplitude modulation from a synthesizer. Okay, let's use another LFO, for example this ramp, and let's go to the matrix, use LFO 2 on LFO 1 rate. Something like this. And for example, let's use a high pass filter on the noise, so high 18, I think it will be great. Click on noise, and let's drop the same thing, LFO 2. And maybe add compression. So this is so cool, very gritty and very useful textures to drop onto anything really. Maybe you can use some distortion. And what I still very like is the ring modulation. If you want to step this forward, let's use vocoder. Choose modulator. And you have tons of chances, tons of possibilities to create this very cool distorted noise. Well, these are not like literally distorted noises, but I would say modulated noises. Now the cool part here is that you can go back to the noise oscillator and you can drop a very different sound, like this one. What a cool sound, man. Okay, so you can see that you have lots of chances to transform these sounds and create very cool stuff. But let me show you another thing. So a new Serum instance, let's drop Serum onto it. And we are going to the same direction that you would do with these sub basses. So let's choose a waveform, let's go to, I don't know, let's choose something that has a little more siny kind of element to it, but with more high end and more overtones. I think this will be cool. Yeah, this will be cool with the noise. Okay, and let's distort it. And because we just want to use it as a noise, let's filter it using a high pass filter. And again, let's use a ramp to play around with the high pass filter. Okay, and because oscillator A has a different form, because it is a wavetable, we can play around with the wavetable position to have a different result. Let's try with the synchronization warping mode. And let's tap this forward. Let's use a filter, like for example, let's go with a comb filter. And go back to the noise and play around with the pitch. But for this, we need to add multiband compression and maybe some EQing to add those top frequencies back that we just killed basically with transforming or transposing the noise down. So this is such a cool noise, you can resample it and use it up in your production. That I did in this little thing that I just showed you. So let me show you now how I made this noise that I used up to add layer to this bass sound that forms this little groove all together. Okay, so noise Serum. Basically it is the same thing. So as you can see, I use oscillator A in mirror mode. And I didn't use oscillator B, so we don't need this here. So oscillator A with noise oscillator goes into the filter that I compressed, added some filter, the flange filter, for some more metallic element. I distorted them and high passed them after, that I just showed you in the previous example. I added some stereo with the hyper and some equalizer to add a little more middle frequency presence to this whole thing, and a delay for the metallic resonance basically. So this is how it sounds. So this is such a cool sound again that I resampled. So as you can see, using distorted noises with several other tricks that can be very, very helpful for your production, especially if you are into heavy dubstep or neuro. These are very, very helpful. So once again, if you want to grab this whole project, click here for my Patreon. And if you want to dig deeper into either neuro or dubstep production, click here for my academy for very, very cool start to finish masterclasses. I was Lars and see you guys next time. Peace.